Thank you, everyone, for joining us today for USI Tech Talk. Today we have Dave Evans, who's the Director of Commercial and Industrial Business Development for Valkyrie Enterprises. His career includes decades of executive management, expertise working as a senior executive in the protective coatings and corrosion industry. Dave holds NACE CIP 3 and AMP PCS credentials and has been an AMP instructor for like 37 years. And he's going to kick us off talking about the S2S line from Valkyrie. Dave, if you want to take it away.
Sure. Thanks, Chris. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for having me. This morning, I want to talk to you about perhaps what's a different way to think about corrosion control and the different options for corrosion prevention in a maintenance coating situation. If you go ahead, Chris, and hit the slide. Most corrosion doesn't occur in laboratories. It occurs on a real-world structure like the picture that's in the slide. This is actually a picture of a bridge that an engineer sent to me that he was taking a look at and wanted to make sure that whatever they were doing was the right thing that they were doing, but they had some constraints that they couldn't work around that we were able to help them with. So lots of times when you take a look at the situation that's in the picture, you can't do perfect surface preparation, or maybe you don't have the downtime, can't close the structure, or maybe you just don't have the funding at that present time to do it. Go ahead, Chris, if you would. So traditional coatings struggle in maintenance because a lot of times the specification is written around applying traditional coating systems to new steel. Lots of times they depend on something like a commercial blast cleaning, or maybe something even that's more critical, like near white or white, and they need an anchor profile, typically 2 to 4 mils or something like that. And a lot of times, their corrosion-resistant properties are dependent on how well they actually can adhere to a mechanically prepared surface, typically abrasive blast cleaning. And lots of times they're sensitive to moisture, surface contamination, salt contamination, those kinds of things. Go ahead, Chris, if you would. What S2S offers is a different approach. And not to replace traditional coating systems, what we offer is some unique solutions, to difficult situations where maybe you can't abrasive blast clean for any one of a number of reasons. Or you can't, you don't have the ability to spray apply a coating or something like that. Our liquids penetrate and migrate into rust, pits, surface irregularities where corrosion begins without intricate surface preparation. Now, essentially clean, dry, and remove the loose pack rust, and you're pretty much good to go. Our coatings displace moisture on the surface. They're simple to apply. That's good. Leave it right there, Chris. No, just good. Just leave it. And, we have multiple coatings for different functions, and we have a complete line of products. I only put 3 on the slide because they offer different technologies and different capabilities within the same product. So our corrosion shield line of products is actually our workhorse line of liquids. And the idea here is they provide extended corrosion protection, long-term corrosion protection to steel, aluminum, different kinds of metallic surfaces. And then and they come in different thicknesses based on how long-term corrosion protection you really need and what kind of items like salt, fog resistance, and cyclic corrosion testing you need. Void and rudder flow coat is another example of something that's very unique. If you've ever tried to prepare a surface and coat a surface that requires confined space entry, it's very, very unique, can be very costly, can be very dangerous. We offer coating systems, especially this void and rudder flow coat, where you don't need to have confined space entry to make the coating system work. We've used it on, certainly lots of bilges and void spaces on barges and ships, but also on unique applications like monopiles for offshore wind towers and structural supports for offshore oil platforms. And then at the other end of the scale, we make products similar to the dielectric spray, which has tremendous insulative qualities. It comes in a aerosol and is used on electrical components, circuit boxes, battery terminals. And the idea is that it's a substitute for dielectric grease. It's easy to apply. If you need to remove it, it's super easy to remove and much easier than the alternative. Go ahead, Chris, if you would. Worst approaches, our products fit into multiple industries. I mean, everything from, we grew up in the marine business. We've been in, S2S has been in business since 2004, I believe. And, we grew up in the marine business. Our primary focus was marine when we started and have a tremendous relationship with the U.S. military, especially the Department of Navy. But we've also expanded with bridge and highway, different kinds of construction equipment, anything that requires either long-term or, if you want, short-term corrosion protection. But the common thread between all of them is generally in-service steel or other metals that require maintenance so that they don't corrode, where you want to stop the corrosion, not just simply convert it from rust into something else, where you've got moisture or salt exposure, and you don't have the ability to do outstanding surface preparation at that time. Go ahead, Chris. Well, we're different. We complement. We're not designed to replace existing coating systems. That's not the idea. What we do is provide solutions to unique situations where you've got to stop corrosion, but traditional methods may not be viable at the specific time. We address corrosion issues where traditional coatings fail. I'm not going to say fail, where they struggle, where it's harder, more difficult, and maybe costly or prohibitive. We're great with industrial maintenance shutdowns. We work well with schedules. The idea here is that we don't replace traditional coating systems. We extend asset life where coatings that require mechanical adhesion sometimes struggle. So that's about my pitch for today. Go ahead, Chris, one more slide. I want to thank you for taking the 15 minutes we have to do this. And, please, if you have any questions, love to answer them. You can get a hold of us through USI. They're a great partner of ours, and anything that we can do to help you, we'd love to.
All right, I'm going to turn off that screen. Anyone that has questions about the S2S line, I'm opening up microphones now. You can also chat them in. I'll read those off. And your microphone should be able to open if you have any questions. And oh, it looks like we got one that came in. Of course, it's loading. So this one says, from what you've seen in the field, where does S2S actually save the most money, labor reduction, extend inspection intervals, or reduce rework?
Okay, that's a multi-headed great question. I'll say where it works best is where you've got areas that are, well, I'm going to break it into 2 or 3 different things. Let's talk about areas where you can't abrasive a blast clean, but you've still got corroding steel. I'm going to make it up, but let's say you're in a saltwater marine environment close to the ocean and you're doing structural steel on a bridge. Now, while S2S isn't going to provide aesthetic value like probably a polyurethane or a polysiloxane, on the steel where you can't abrasive blast clean for one reason or another, it's a simple application. You knock off the loose rust, make sure it's clean. It doesn't even have to dry, and you can apply the product either with, if it's a large area, one of the products, by airless spray, brush, roller, whatever it takes. With some of the items, you can flood coat them if you want. So long-term corrosion protection, absolutely. The beauty of it is, let's say down the road somewhere, after you say, well, now I've got the funding, or we want to paint it, how do I remove it? What's the next maintenance item? You can, it won't wash off with, just water out of the atmosphere. With a high pH detergent, something like Simple Green or one of the products that is out there, you can certainly remove it with warm water and a high pH detergent. abrasive blast, clean it, and put on there whatever you want to do later on.
All right, thank you. Any other questions from the audience here? Just checking the chats. Oh, we have another one. It says, if someone is evaluating this against a traditional coding system, what scenario makes S2S the obvious choice, and where could you say it's not the right fit?
It's not the right fit for any kind of immersion in a liquid. Okay, and I don't mean water, but let's say for the sake of example, you've got sour crude oil or gasoline or something like that. Absolutely not. But where it does work very, very well is where you've got a situation where I need to provide long-term corrosion protection. I want to do it with my own plant maintenance personnel that can't abrasive blast clean or don't want to, I don't have the time, or whatever it may be, and I need long-term corrosion protection in that kind of scenario. It works tremendously well. The other thing is we make anti-corrosion tapes. If I need to tape wrap something and paste, I can have corrosion resistance that will last for decades, depending on the application and how I want to do it.
All right, we got one more here that says, have you seen or heard of it causing NECP interference?
No, none at all.
And then another one.
Somebody asked, does it have NSF or NSF 61? The answer is no.
Right. Any other questions from the audience? I'll leave it open for another second here before we close. All right, I'm not seeing any other hands go up. Thank you, Dave, for presenting today and running us through the S2S. And if anyone in here has any more direct questions, or you think of one after the fact, like I often do, feel free to reach out to USI directly at office@usigroups.com or by phone at 248-735-7000. Or you can reach out to your salesperson directly if you have their direct contact information. We're more than happy to help. And if we don't know the answers, we can get directly in touch with Dave, and he definitely knows them. So thank you, everyone, for joining us today for our Tech Talk. And we look to discussing this with you guys soon. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, everyone, for attending.